Hi YouTube. Today we're going to talk about a cheap and easy character build you can make here in Outlands. Um, Initially you don't have to have any skill scrolls or skill balls to make this build work. It's just flat out you're tanky, you do some damage, a lot of survivability built into it. Um, but let's jump right into the build and we'll discuss those factors. We'll start off with Parry. You're a tank, so you have to have Parry. Um, I run with a shield and 90 Parry. You only need 80 for your Codex to work. I run 90 though because slightly more damage mitigated, more chance to parry attacks, as well as increases the armor that the shield gives me, which hurts if PvP's hitting me, but really helps PvM. And then, second thing you need as a tank is resist spells. Now, I only have this at 60. You can take the 10 points I put into parry and arms lure and raise that to 80 if you so choose. That's more for PvP than PvM, because with Chivalry at 100, dispel evil, parry, and resist spells, you mitigate a lot of that spell damage of PvM, player versus monster, so that you don't have to have it at 80 or 100. Like I said, 80 more for PvP, 60s just for PvM. The creatures in Shadowspire Cathedral I can tank, and they cast a lot of spells, and I can live through it with just 60 resist spells. If you need a little bit more, you can always run with some magic resist pots, raise it up for the few monsters that might one-shot you, but hardly any monster gets you past half health with this build. Earth aspect, you're just a very tanky character. Um, like I said, you run 100 Chivalry, uh, which also gives you Sacred Journey, lets you go to towns, dungeons, shrines, and one custom location. I wish Outlands would add more than one, but hey, at least we get the one, right? But this way, you also don't have to explore the whole world. You just get a golden gate to wherever you want to go. Chivalry also has a lot of increased damage and survivability in it. However, um, I'll talk about that later when I go through Chivalry. All you need to know right now is Dispel Evil plus resist spell at 60, you live through most creature spell damage. Uh, and then, of course, for survivability, you need healing. I have healing at 100 for the biggest bandages possible, as well as 80 anatomy to make those bandages even bigger. Plus, with anatomy, it increases your chance that you won't slip when a creature hits you. You know, where it's, we'll say, bandage slip. Um, that won't happen as much with higher anatomy, which means bigger bandages, bandages on time. Also, with 80 anatomy, you can res your friends that you may be running with, as well as your bandages will cure any poisons that the creatures might have put on you. In fact, with Cleanse by Fire, I don't even run that many cure pots because I don't need them. and that gives me more weight for gold. Also, with anatomy, it increases your chance to hit a finisher. Well, you won't have a codex at first, but once you do develop that codex, these finishers and anatomy helps trigger those. That's the majority of the survivability in it. And then, of course, you want to do some damage. So 100 in swordsmanship, it can be any weapon that you choose. Most people go mace fighting because the piercing effect, they see that high damage. I have a friend who uses wrestling. If you run wrestling with this build, you can't run with a shield though, so you don't get that bonus armor from Parry. But you still can mitigate the spell damage and melee attacks with Parry. It's just you don't get the extra armor running two-handed as opposed to one-handed. And then 100 tactics, just so that you hit as hard as you can while running it. I personally choose the swordsmanship because the bleed ticks, which arms lore helps out in adding bleeds. I believe that does more damage in the long run than mace fighting. Sure, you'll see 300 hits with mace fighting. However, if I have a 150 hit on a creature that causes a bleed, I think it's 6 ticks of 10% of that damage. So eventually, I'll be doing more damage because swords swing faster. Also, with Chivalry, you get increased stats, especially with Sacred Journey. Takes you wherever you want to go, like I said, and gives you 5% increased damage for 30 minutes. Great little skill to have. Lastly, arms lore. You can cap at 80, like I said, that way you have 10 points for other places. But increased bleeds, love arms lore. It also gives you a chance to disarm the creatures, which causes them to take more damage as well as lower their defenses. It's a great little build. This was my first character. This is the character I've put the most time into. The only thing on him that isn't fully leveled is his aspect. One tier to go. So we're just going to talk about the build. I run earth armor because increase armor rating, most aspects do that, but chance to increase the melee damage. If you increase the melee damage, higher bleeds, more damage, etc., etc. But here's the real reason I run earth for my tank. You get damage resistance while above 33% HP and damage resistance while stationary. And with that being said, I also run Bulwark as my stance. This is the stance I'm in 98% of the time because I'm standing still because of earth armor anyways. So with that and the damage resist from Bulwark, I'm a pretty tanky guy. It takes a while to level up this much in the Codex, but you're still very tanky, level 1. Also, the weapon effect, the earth hands, reduces armor. Also, make sure if you're running a group that you're using taunt. and I'll show you how I use the taunt a little later. But now let's go into Chivalry real fast. Let's talk about Chivalry. Essential, in my opinion, for a tank. I don't use Remove Curse that much. I don't really care about Pierce, Crippling, any of those effects as much because a lot of tankiness built in. I don't have to worry as much in Cavernum about the chill effects because they do 1 damage to me. However, the one I do use, and as you can see is checkmarked, is Dispel Evil. I want that in every fight. The 5% reflect chance is awesome, but the 5% to evade melee attacks, it reduces the damage to 1, is just amazing. Has saved my life because big hits get turned down to 1. Very useful in evading attacks. Has kept me alive. Cleansed by Fire, I've talked about a little bit. It cures poison. Scales with weapon speed, so if you're going to be using that to help cure the bleed, you might want to use Divine Fury with it at the same time, just because it increases your weapon speed. Consecrate Weapon. This is one of my favorite things about Chivalry because the melee specials inflict 32 if you're tanking, more damage, and that allows you to have bigger bleeds. And like I said, my build revolves around staying alive and making them bleed. Now, if they make you bleed, there's Closed Wounds, reduce bleed and disease damage taken by 25%. Very useful. There's also a Parry warding, does a similar thing. Reduces poison, bleed, and disease tick damage by 8% per rank. Tested, well, let's keep going with this. Enemy 1 increases the melee damage, higher damage dealt, higher bleed, more damage. It works hand in hand all together. The Noble Sacrifice, or what I like to call it, the oh shit heal. And it's because it's a good 60 heal most of a life bar. But the caster, i.e. you, can't be healed for the next 5 seconds. So that's why I like to call it the oh shit heal, because oh shit, I used it, I can't be healed for 5 seconds. I don't use this one as much if I'm going to heal myself or party members. I use Holy Light, 40 self-healing, or to 5 random players. It also does a little bit of damage, but I'm never using this on my tank for damage. I'm using it to heal myself or heal party members. And then, like I said, Divine Fury increases swing speed. Sacred Journey gets you where to go. 5% increase damage for 30 minutes for anyone who uses your Golden Gate. Nice little ability. The only downside to all that is PvP is if you're flagged for PvP, none of this works. You get like 5 or 10% increased damage, woohoo, but none of your heals or any of this works while in it. So if you're poisoned, hitting a mob, and then a PK comes up, your Cleansed by Fire isn't going to work, even though you're still hitting the mob trying to cure yourself. That's why I do run with a few cure pots, because that does happen. In the codexes, you have Shield Bash, the Hinder effect, great. I recommend leveling up Bulwark first, but Shield Bash is a great way to go as well because that hinder effect when they hit you, great way to space them if you need to get space so that a bandage can go ahead and be used, or it just causes them not to hit you for a second. 4% chance, 3% damage resist, very good. Very underused here. I don't use it, but very good skill. Warding, like I said, decreases bleed, poison, disease effects. Testitute, if you have a lot of creatures on you, you might switch to this while running because Bulwark only works if you're standing still. Testitute, a lot of creatures running, moving. Testitute's the way to go. Mirror is only for magic. 2% chance to reflect any spell, and reduces spell damage taken by 4% per rank. It helps with only having 60 points in resist spell. But like I said, I mainly just run Bulwark with Last Stand. 5% chance per rank to reduce any damage taken to 1. Also, this is a finisher, so it scales with anatomy. So, anatomy means more chance this will happen. In the Swords Codex, very OP for a tank because you have defense, which increases your defenses, doesn't stack. You also have warrior, which increases accuracy, defense, and damage. It's the one I run most of the time. If I'm doing a boss battle, I'll use flay and cleave a lot. Flay increases the non-aspect bleed damage by 10% per rank, and cleave, 8% of the damage you're hitting the boss with goes on to another target as well. Great for bosses, like I said. That's the main time I use cleave. Also, when multiple targets are attacking me. I don't use aggressive so much because take more damage for a little bit of accuracy and damage. I'd rather run warrior, which increases accuracy, defense, and damage by 2% as opposed to taking more damage. Like I said, this is a tank build. You're just supposed to be the person taking all the damage. I run him on boss runs. I'm the main tank. I taunt all the monsters to me. That way, they're all grouped together for cleave as well as other abilities. And a healer and my own bandages keep me alive. I don't need that many heals from the healer of the group because I'm so tanky and my bandages heal for so much. Now, like I said, I'll show you how to taunt. For taunt, it's literally just open bracket taunt. I have it right next to my bandage. That way, while on boss runs, I can bandage myself, which I'm not being damaged right now, and then taunt the monster or whoever I need. Mainly the bosses who I'm taunting. But also, whenever you're in a group setting, taunt's good to have. Also because Divine Fury, Consecrate Weapon, and Enemy of One all have a small portion that's defender is aggroed onto player. So taunt really helps If a mage is casting, you don't want it on the earth elemental. Sure, you're not taking as much damage, but you're also not giving as much damage if they're aggroed onto the earth elemental as opposed to you. Now, I personally love running my warrior in Undermountain. Sacred Journey up top, that way if PKs are there, I can just get away with another Sacred Journey. But to show you how tanky I am, we'll just go to Undermountain. Slightly not as much damage as SSC, but never as crowded. Go through the teleporter, and then I just stick to this room and the next room. Low PKs, cleanse by fire because I'm poisoned. Start a bandage. I don't need to taunt anything. Bulwark OP. And see, just warrior stance. Cleanse by fire is still on. Activate a bandage just in case because I can't hit him right now. Increase my weapon speed. Very tanky guy. Just ran into a room. Aggroed the room. No issues. Stand right here, you should be able to pull the Blade Master if he spawned. Just let the bleed kill the spider, see? Just go ahead and check cleanse by fire right now since killing a lot of. Pull the Ranger, there's the Blade Master. Switch to cleave. Bandage is about to pop. Not worried. See, got all the way down to below 40. Back up to 80. Kill the guy that poisons first. Their backstab, dispel evil works on, so not that worried. Two guys, no problem. Like I said, very easy champion to do. All you have to do is stand there and hit things and get hit. Great for partying because while everybody else is killing the mobs, you're just making sure that they don't kill your friends. And a little tidbit about Undermountain. If you are battling, and then you see a PK coming, there is a little... Let me finish killing these guys real fast just because I don't like leaving gold. And I can tank all this damage for free. I generally use about 50 bandages while out, and that's just bandaging every damage because why not? Gotta stay healthy just in case PK shows up. La-di-da-di-da. Come on, die already. Oh, please. Warrior it up. Increase accuracy. And damage. A lot of bleed ticks. Up. Then a little tidbit is there's a teleporter right here. And if you just take one step If a PK shows up when you're in the other room and you just step onto the teleporter and then don't move, it counts this location as being blocked and they will not teleport into this room with you. So you just sit and chill while they get teleported to another room. What room, you may ask? If you take the wrong step, which apparently is up, there's a path through that. I haven't personally looked it up, but I know there's a path through that. It leads to a cool little room. I saw it on Trammy's video. I haven't actually been in that room. But the PK gets ported into a pit of spiders. Oh no. And you're in a room safe and sound. As long as you don't move. If you do move off that initial teleporter spot, they will port into that little room with you. Which, if you want to do one-on-one, 1 versus 1 on the PK, then you can. No monsters. Just kill the PK if you can. And if not, you can always just port into this room and run. I'm killing these spiders just because it's good content for the video. The only thing you have to watch out for is after you're out of this little room, so many dead spiders, so many rich spiders. La-di-da-di-da. We'll leave that one. You can't go back down after you go up the stairs. And this little path here is where the Nightwalker walks around. He is the big baddie of Undermountain, if you didn't know. He'll one-shot you. He one-shots me, and I'm a tank. Well, wait, he does 99 damage if I was standing still for 3 seconds prior to seeing him. But that's 99 damage in 1 hit. See, there he is. You just avoid him. And we'll go back. Just don't run into the Nightwalker and you'll be fine as a tank. Now, I don't recommend coming here until you have 3 points in Bulwark and tier 5 aspects. Until then, I'd stick to the lowlier of dungeons. I mainly leveled Sunshine up in Ossuary, but great little teleport right there. And there's a moon gate right here if you need to pop out. If the PK is coming from the other direction, then you just run to the moon gate, safe and sound. Last thing I want to talk about with your tank is make sure that you have a separate key for disarming your shield than drinking a potion. Because if you try and have them on the same key, most times it'll work if you have a little weight. But if you don't have the weight, it'll try to drink the potion while taking off the shield, and you won't get your potion, and a PK will kill you. So disarm pots. Strength pot, heal pot. Don't forget to start your bandage. Drop your loot off in Prev, because it's a great bank. But it's a very straightforward build. All you're trying to do is survive. The monsters will die eventually. And like I said, I believe bleed's the highest amount of damage, as long as you have your anatomy and, arms lore and a good weapon swing, which I use Viking sword, player stats, which already has a pretty good swing speed on it. And then you add your Divine Fury, and you're swinging fast. Great build. I've made the most money with him, cheap, and you don't even have to run anything special with him. You can literally do vendor armor, and with the stats I showed you, with vendor armor, you still tank everything. I have a little bit better, but not much. As you can see, I'm just running dual copper, so barely better than baseline. And then I have an Agapite sword because I like doing a little bit more damage, but again, it's not that big a stock. This armor and this sword, I think together cost 5 grand, which is half a hunting trip because I generally average 10 to 12. So definitely a lot of profit in it. Very tanky. I hope I learned something or intrigued you into the tank. You can go toe to toe with a lot of people. The main reason not to PvP with them though is if you're running plate mail, they're just going to mind blast you to death. Nothing you can do. With the mind blast and the shield, they just 3-shot you. 3 mind blasts. It sucks, but it's the way of a tank. Thank you. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. If you find my content interesting, leave a comment if you want to see something in particular. Maybe I can accommodate it, or just let me know how I did. Thank you for your time.